Hey y'all, welcome back to Harmon Homestead Chicken Scratch Talk Time. Y'all, we have not had rain for over 3 weeks until yesterday. My corn, 2 rows were severely stunted. After it rained on it when I side dressed it, that was it. It's not rained since I did that video on how to side dress corn. That's how bad it's been here. They're stunted. Everything's tasseling though, but 300-foot rows look great. So it's all tasseling. We're going to have corn within 2 weeks. I noticed last week the first tassels. It's usually about 3 weeks until you get your ears from that. So we'll video that. Right now it's raining outside. I'm inside. We have so much going on. My raised beds, I have never seen gardens do this well, ever. Y'all, the tomato plants are just grown together. It's a jungle out there. Right now I'm canning. If you hear something in the background, I've canned, as of just now, 33 quarts of green beans in 9 days. That's a lot. That's a lot off of just raised beds. So y'all can do this. You can go out there and can, you can grow, you can sustain yourself, or at least help, okay? You can do this. You can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. Yesterday, it was murky weather again. It rained a little bit on and off, and I said, I'm going to organize my pantry. I have stackable shelves, and that's what I keep all my canned goods on. Well, I had it in an area that I don't go in all the time, and I said, I'm going to reorganize this. So I brought it all out. I cleaned my jars. You need to do that every so often anyways. Clean it up and take inventory of what you have. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I really thought I had more than I actually do. I thought we were great. I thought we were good on canned goods, but when you go and just grab something off the shelf continuously and then jars start piling up, empty mason jars, you don't really know what you have unless you take inventory. I went through my rings yesterday, my lids, my jars that have never been opened. I try to take stock of everything that we have. Regular mouth quarts, wide mouth quarts. I didn't realize until yesterday, like, I'm about out of wide mouth quarts because I've used all my wide mouths for my green beans. I like wide mouth quarts anyways. So there's a lot to this, and you need to keep track of what you have. But I was very shocked on how little we had. We have green beans, pumpkin, potatoes, diced tomatoes, green tomatoes, and crab apples, and that's pretty much it. That's it. And the volume number, some was a lot more than I expected. I thought I had just depleted diced tomatoes, and I had a ton of those. And others I thought I was good on, but I was out, or almost out. So if something happens and you have no way to get food, you need to have a pantry. It doesn't matter to me if you're homesteading or if you're just trying to save money and can. If something happens, you need to have a backup. I think that would be good for anybody. A couple of years ago, Hurricane Zeta hit here and we were without power for 8 days. I had no backup. And that's right before we got into homesteading. And I said, yeah, I want to fix this. I want to do this right. I want to have a backup. Something as simple as a manual can opener. I had always used an electric one. I didn't have a manual one. I saw no need for it. I didn't think about the power being out 8 days. I didn't. And then you go to the store and all you're going to try to get is non-perishable items. Well, you go to the store. The morning that I went to Walmart, after we were able to get out of the drive, trees were all over the drive, it was terrible. Once my husband chainsawed those up, we got out. I got to Walmart and the shelves were empty. First of all, they had lost power. All the refrigerated items were pulled off and they were trashed. Then all the non-perishable stuff, like just say SpaghettiOs, people had grabbed up. And I live out from town. These people that live in town were the first ones there to get it. So you need a backup. That was tough. Like, once fast food restaurants got open, we had fast food for 8 days. That's all we could have once they opened up. That was an eye-opener to me. Now, if you are homesteading and wanting to grow your own food, that's totally different to me. I think anybody should have a backup, but if you're homesteading and growing what you eat, you ought to be preserving it some way, shape, form, or fashion. The advantage of canned goods is because you don't need refrigeration. If you are without power, you're going to have a generator if you have deep freezers full of stuff. We have deep freezers. That was a problem. We had to, we had to use a generator, and we had to keep that generator fueled to keep our food going. We had so much meat. My husband hunts, so we had to keep that meat good. I mean, we ate what we could out of it, but at that point, that's where the generator was going towards. So guys, there's a lot to think about, but if you put yourself in a scenario where there's no food on the shelves, whether it be a natural disaster, any kind of disaster, okay? Just say it's, something happens in your local town and you can't get in the grocery store. I'm talking about like a local disaster. You need a backup. If you're not growing your own food, you can go get dried beans. You can go get non-perishable items and stock up on that. So many people are accustomed to going to the grocery store every day or every couple of days. And there's a lot of times and incidences where that may not be feasible. These people they won't know what to do. They're, like us, you just hope fast food was open, a fast food chain. So it's always good to can or to have a backup pantry, period, the end. My goal, since we're homesteading, is growing our own food. We know what's in our food. We know where it come from. We know how it was handled. And I mean, it tastes better, okay? It tastes better to me. And I enjoy it. But we don't want to have to spend money on groceries because it's so cheap to grow it on your own if you can. Once you get everything established, just like a raised bed, a brown paper sack of bush bean seed is $3, or it was this year, and 33 quarts just till today, and that used 3/4 of the sack of seed. 33 quarts. I mean, do you see the price comparison here? That's including the cost for the raised bed, how much it took to make it, the dirt. It will pay off for itself in the long run. But if you put yourself in a scenario where you're not able to get food, it's a scary thought, guys. It really is. And what you think you have on the shelves right now, I promise you, it's not enough. If you're looking at a disaster plan, it's not enough. It is not enough. 33 quarts of beans, that would be gone through in a couple of weeks if we were just eating beans. I mean, really, it's nowhere near enough. I want us to prepare for winter. Everybody always talks about wintertime and preparing. You talk about older homesteaders and pioneers and everybody else, they prepared for winter. Why was winter so tough? Because the temps drop. You're not able to go outside and garden. You're not able to grow anything. You're stuck. Right now, if something happened, just say I couldn't get in the grocery store. Well, I have my canned food, but forget the canned food. Say I didn't have 1 ounce of canned food. I'm growing fresh vegetables in the backyard. We could survive. Forget the deep freezers, forget the canned food. We could survive off what we're growing right now until the disaster passed. A lot of people aren't doing that. I've seen more gardens this year from our friends and family than I have seen in years past. So I'm very proud of that. But still, the majority of people are not going out and growing their own food. I think you need to. In the wintertime, you're not able to do that. So you're going to have to rely on what you have preserved. If you can't get to the grocery store, if something happens, that's it. Or whatever meat you can kill in the winter if you're a hunter, okay? Or if that's really it. And in the wintertime, it's where deer season's in and all these other things. But the temps drop, is hard. Your body takes more fuel because it's colder, okay? Your body is using more energy to stay sustainable itself. So you kind of need more food, really, if you're in a survival situation. That's why winter's so tough. Winter is so tough. I want us to prepare for winter. I want us to think, hey, just in case, let's stock some stuff up. Whether we have to go buy it or we grow it, preserve it, and don't just eat fresh out of your garden all summer. Try to put some of these things up, okay? Even if it's just a few jars, that way you can get acclimated to canning. Because I know right after I started this, the pandemic hit, and you couldn't find the canning supplies. Of all times, you could not find canning stuff. I remember searching high and low for a simple canning kit, like the jar handler and all that. You couldn't find it. You couldn't find a canner anywhere. There was something going on with the canning stuff. Of all times for those supplies to be gone. Right now, if they're on the shelves, if you don't have it, go get it. Go get it and go try to can something. You can can stuff from the store all day long. Dried beans you can can. You can can anything. So try and see now while everything's okay, because you don't want to get in a predicament and then try to start learning how to can when you don't even have power. That's not going to be your priority. You're going to be trying to find food. Go out there and try to grow something and try to sustain yourself, because you don't understand until you get in a situation where there's no food on the shelves. And guys, I never thought that I would have been in that situation. I never thought that. I thought, well, nothing's going to happen. 8 days without power, and you say that that's so easy. Like, oh, well, I grew up without air conditioner in the house. The way we live today is so different than how times were back then. It's harder to me. It's very hard. A lot of people say, well, oh, we're fine. We'll just go get something from the grocery store. The grocery store may not have it. That's what we got into. Well, I can survive out in the woods. Well, what if you live in town? Are you going to just walk all the way to the woods for a day? In a true disaster situation, what would you do? What would you do? You have to be prepared. Whether it's the price of things, I look at that as a disaster. If the price of things doubles, triples, whatever, to me, that's my own disaster. I don't want to pay that. I'm not going to pay that. I look at that as a can of green beans for $4 as bad as it not being on the shelf, because I'm not going to get it regardless, whether it's not there or that expensive. I'm not going to do that. That's why we grow our own food. I don't want to pay that. I realized how cheap it is to grow it if you know what you're doing and can do it right. That's the whole kicker right there. You need to have backups. I would highly encourage that, because you don't understand until you go without. It's totally different in this day and age, us trying to live like this. If you eat a hamburger every night from a fast food joint or once a week, when you just say you stop doing that, to me, in my mind, because I used to go there all the time, I would get a hamburger. You get accustomed to whatever's in that food. You get accustomed to eating it. You get accustomed to having it so readily available. And then you kind of just withdraw. And it's not fun. It's not easy, and it's not fun to go without that nice $15 hamburger every night that someone else prepared. If you think about everything it took to make that hamburger, and when you start doing it on your own, from making your own buns to your own meat to the lettuce that goes inside it, the tomato, the sauces. Do you know how much it takes just to make mayonnaise? Do you know how much it takes to make ketchup? When you start breaking this stuff down on how hard it is to make all of this stuff by hand, yeah, you get real ill real quick when you don't have a Whopper sitting there. I mean, if you decide to do it on your own. Learn now before it's not available in any kind of disaster situation. And again, prepare for winter. I want us all to eat our own food, to live off the land. I wish we all could do that, or at least get accustomed to it. Right now's the time. If you eat takeout once a week, try to do it every 2 weeks. Wean yourself off. See how it is and make more stuff by hand and see if you like it or not. Some people won't like that no matter what. That's fine. Some people will like that and take a different path. They'll go down the path of, hey, I do want to grow my own food. Hey, I do like fresh cucumbers instead of a bag of chips. A lot of people will venture down that path, and it's better. It's better. It's better on your wallet. It's better on your health. It's better on everything, in my opinion. Just the taste is so much better. Let's prepare for a hard winter. Let's see how it goes. I feel like we're going to have a tough winter. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't have any information. That's just my opinion. I just have a feeling that it's going to be a tough winter this year. I'm not talking about just weather. I'm talking about any kind of current event, any kind of, I just feel like we're going to have a tough winter this year. And I want everybody, the first thing you need to worry about is shelter. I would hope we all have a house or some kind of shelter, food, and heat. That's the three things. It's right now, gas is going up. It always does around the 4th of July. I want you to, after the 4th, be looking at getting this gas tanks filled. If you have fire logs, I've got a set of gas logs behind me. If you use stuff like that and you're out in the country, have a tank, look at getting this stuff filled up. You'd rather do it in the summer than when, you know, they can't get to you in October because they've got so many people to go fill up. Stuff like that I want you to be thinking about. Canning supplies. Go through all your stuff like I did yesterday. Go through it, see what you have, and go can. Go put up food. Go stock those deep freezers. I just got a feeling, guys. I don't know how y'all feel, but I just have a feeling that this winter is going to be a tough winter. We had some of the coldest weather on record the week of Christmas last year, here where we are. Chicken waters busted, froze to pieces. I mean, it was horrific. We had tarps up around the pens. There was winds were just horrific, like a blizzard. It was horrible. We had a huge ice storm, and thankfully we had food. We had an extra heat source. Always think about an extra heat source. I believe you can do without air, but the heat, you can't. Think about this stuff and put it up, because you're doing nothing but bettering yourself, and you don't have to go frantic when something happens. That's the whole point. Or you don't have to be frantic when the prices of stuff go up. You don't have to be frantic because you already got it sitting here, and you don't have to worry about it. And you have the skill and know-how now to go out and learn how to do it on your own. And you don't care what the price of green beans are, because you can go grow it yourself. So that's what it's all about. We'll see you next time on Harmon Homestead, guys.